The first rule of surviving first contact, according to every diplomat and xenolinguist in the Terran Union, was simple. Think before you speak. I broke that rule within 5 minutes of meeting Commander Karza of the Varelian war clans. She stood nearly a head taller than me, plated in bioceramic armor that looked grown rather than forged. Her 4 golden eyes scanning the docking bay like she was assessing which parts of it might bleed. When she tilted her head in confusion at my malfunctioning translator, I smiled nervously and said, that was kind of cute." The silence that followed was catastrophic. Varelians were legendary. Engineered warriors who had held back the Zalith swarm when 3 galactic empires failed. Their culture prized dominance, honor, and emotional restraint. Cute was not a word used for them. Several Marines reached for their rifles. Karza froze, her crested helm retracting with a hiss. Then, impossibly, the dark blue skin beneath it flushed a deep, radiant crimson. The commander stared at me as if I had just detonated a logic bomb in her skull. The diplomatic incident everyone expected never came. Instead of challenging me to ritual combat or snapping my spine, Karza turned away sharply, barking orders to her warriors in clipped Varelian. The crimson didn't fade. Later in the briefing chamber, she refused to meet my eyes. Her voice strained as she outlined the reason for our alliance. A Zalith splinter hive was moving toward human space. The Varelians needed Terran adaptability and our reckless problem-solving. We needed their firepower. I listened carefully, but part of me was still stuck on one impossible fact. An alien war hero could blush. The middle of the campaign was chaos. Zalith bioships moved like living storms, rewriting physics with every jump. Varelian tactics were precise, overwhelming, and brutally efficient. Human tactics were creative. When a standard assault failed, I proposed luring the swarm into a pulsar's radiation cone using hacked distress beacons and a cargo ship full of junk code and worse music. Karza stared at me the same way she had in the docking bay, like I was fascinating and deeply confusing. "Your strategies should not work," she said. "Yet they do." Shrugged. "We're good at improvising." Between battles, something unexpected happened. Karza sought me out, not as a commander but as a person. She asked about Earth, about why humans joked in the face of extinction, why we named our ships things like Hold My Beer. In return, she spoke of Varelian rights, of growing up in training pits where affection was considered weakness. When I teased her gently, she flushed again, armor vents whirring like they were trying to hide it. Among her people she was terrifying. Around me she was awkward. Everything came to a head during the Battle of Neretha's Reach. The trap failed. The Zalith adapted as they always did, and the Allied fleet was torn apart. Karza's flagship took a direct hit. Its command core breached. Against orders, I took a shuttle straight into the kill zone. Human ships weren't built for honor. They were built to get things done. I crashed through the ruptured hull, dragging Karza from the wreckage while Varelian warriors covered us in stunned silence. "You endangered yourself for me," she said, blood like liquid sapphire staining her armor. "That is illogical." I grinned through the smoke. "Yeah, we do that." The counterattack was pure HFY. With Varelian cannons disabled, we rewired human reactors to overload safely. Mostly, and used the fleet itself as a distributed energy weapon. It was insane, inefficient, and absolutely devastating. The Zalith hive collapsed into burning fragments. When the dust settled, humanity was no longer a junior partner. We were equals. Maybe more. The Varelian clans formally acknowledged Terran audacity as a strategic asset, a phrase that would later be etched into history. After the war, on a quiet observation deck overlooking a newborn star, Karza finally confronted me about that first meeting. On my world, she said carefully, to be called cute implies vulnerability, desire, things we are trained to erase. She paused, cheeks darkening again. Yet when you said it, I did not feel diminished. I felt seen. I swallowed, suddenly very aware that I was talking to someone who could tear apart a tank with her bare hands. For what it's worth, I said, you're still terrifying. Just also kind of adorable when you're confused. She laughed. A real laugh, sharp and bright and utterly un-Varelian. The sound echoed through the station like a victory bell. In that moment, I realized something important. Humanity's greatest weapon had never been our ships or our tech. It was our ability to connect, to disarm the universe with empathy and bad timing. I accidentally called an alien warrior woman cute. She turned bright red. And somewhere between the embarrassment and the battles, we changed each other and the galaxy, forever. The official alliance ceremony was held weeks later, beneath the twin banners of Earth and the Varelian war clans. Speeches were given, medals exchanged, and history carefully rewritten into something clean and presentable. The archives would say the war was won through superior coordination and mutual respect. They would not mention panic, improvisation, or a half-crazed human technician hot-wiring reactors while laughing over an open comm. They would definitely not mention that the most feared warrior culture in the sector had nearly unraveled because of one careless word. When the crowd finally dispersed, Karza found me again. This time she wore no armor, only a ceremonial sash marking her as Clan Commander Prime. Without the plates and weapons, she looked different. Still powerful. Still unmistakably Varelian. But less like a living war machine and more like someone real. My people will study humans for generations, she said. Not because of your weapons, but because of your defiance of fear. You rush toward danger not to dominate it, but to protect others. She turned her 4 eyes on me, steady and unflinching. That is a kind of strength we never understood. I shrugged, suddenly uncomfortable under the weight of her gaze. We're not brave. We're just stubborn. Karza's lips curved slightly. Her version of a smile. Perhaps. But stubbornness saved us all. Before she left, she hesitated. Just a fraction of a second. There is a Varelian word, she said. Untranslatable. It means, one who breaks your worldview without drawing a blade. Her skin darkened again, that familiar crimson blooming softly. It applies to you. I watched her walk away, boots echoing down the corridor, and realized something that would take the galaxy a long time to understand. Humanity didn't win its place among the stars by proving we were the strongest or the smartest. We won because we were willing to be human, awkward, reckless, emotional, and impossibly sincere. And if calling an alien warrior woman cute was what it took to change the course of interstellar history, honestly, probably do it again.